What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. As you guys know, I've been doing a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers positional breakdowns. This offseason, Steelers season is coming at us. We are only about a month away from some preseason, getting back into all the camps and everything. We're evaluating a lot of talent here, and that's what I'm trying to do on this channel as well. So if you guys want to see my quarterback breakdown, my running back breakdown, my wide receiver breakdown, my offensive line, defensive line, and inside linebacker breakdowns, where I discuss all the players at each position, kind of who's on the hot seat, who's going to be starting, who's going to be a valuable depth piece, who's an X factor, stuff like that are all officially up on my channel now. So go back and check that out. In the meantime, this is my first video on my new phone camera. My old phone broke on me, which is why you haven't seen as many Steeler videos coming out lately on this channel, so I do apologize for that. But I am now recording on a new phone, so if there's any kind of change in color, quality, stuff like that, I'll be working with this phone and updating it as we go along. But again, if you want to see all those breakdowns of positions, they are on my channel now. And today I'm talking about the outside linebackers. I talked about the inside linebackers last time and promised you guys an outside linebacker video, and here we go. Obviously, the first guy needs no real introduction. TJ Watt is the superstar on this team. He's the best defensive player on this team and probably in the entire NFL. When it comes to getting quarterback pressure and making game-breaking plays, big sacks, forced fumbles, etc., TJ Watt is the standard in this league, and probably still somehow one of the most overlooked guys in the league too, as far as Madden ratings and Pro Bowls and Defensive Player of the Years and all that. But TJ Watt is the standard. He's our star. Alex Highsmith is the other starter coming into, I think it's his third season he's coming into here in Pittsburgh, and has been a very solid number two. I don't think he's quite a star. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's playing quite at the level that Bud Dupree was in his final season here in Pittsburgh, but he's been playing very solid. He's an underrated player that's played pretty well on the other side of TJ. So obviously those guys are your 1 and 2. Those are your starters. And Highsmith is kind of, just like he was last year, kind of the X factor. Because you know when TJ's healthy, you know what you're going to get. You know what kind of player TJ Watt is when he's on the field. Highsmith still has a bit of defining to do as far as what his ceiling is. We know the guy can be a 6, 7, 8, 9 sack guy. He can be right in that upper mid-range where he can give you kind of really good opposite side pressure and make some good tackles. He can be an efficient player who's not going to blow the game for you, and he can make some good plays. Can he get to the next level, though? Can he be, again, where a Bud Dupree was? Can he be a number 2 that can kind of be on that number 1 level and elevate himself to a dominant place and play as a number 1 when TJ Watt is not out there? We haven't seen that yet. So how high can Highsmith's ceiling be? We don't quite know, which is why I give the X factor to Highsmith this year. But we do know he can be a very good number 2 and be a solid NFL starter for this team like he's been the last couple of years. Now, one of the problems we have on this team is kind of a similar one to the inside linebackers. You kind of know where your starters are, but what is your depth going to be? Outside linebacker has had a lot of turnover in these last couple of years. We've seen a lot of guys come and a lot of guys go as far as your backups go. We saw signings go off to Kansas City. We saw guys go off to Tennessee. We saw some camp phenoms come in and play really well and then be cut for some reason. We saw a few guys make the team and then wind up not being on the team come week 3 or 4 of last season. We've seen a lot of guys kind of come and go. So who can solidify themselves as that number 3 and number 4 guy for depth? And of course, with TJ and Highsmith, we've seen so far in the last 2 years, both those guys are apt to get hurt. We've seen both guys on both sides of the outside linebacker spots miss time these last couple of years. You know they're going to be chipping at these guys, and we're going to have to see backups play. We've seen a lot of guys we don't know coming in and playing in important games toward the end of the season. And so who can be those pieces that fill in as our 3 and 4? Who can kind of make a splash? Now, we've got 3 other guys on the roster here at the outside linebacker spots that are guys that are worthy of looking at. The first one is really interesting here because we have re-signed, again, Tusca Skipper. Tusca Skipper was a guy that came in 2 years ago in 2019. He was a camp phenom. I think he had 5 sacks in 4 games, plus a forced fumble or something like that. He came in and he was the biggest camp phenom. Played in preseason and killed it for us. Wound up not getting signed, somehow didn't make the roster, and then went on to play for the New York Giants or yeah, I think it was the New York Giants. Got signed by them, and the Giants cut him in the middle of the 2019 season. And then he came back and got re-signed here again, and everybody was all excited to see what he could do. Never really played for us and got cut again. So a lot of buzz around the guy. Didn't really make anything happen to get on the field, even with his second stint with the Steelers. And then he went off last year to play with Tennessee, along with two other outside linebackers, Bud Dupree, and there was another one I think that they signed from Pittsburgh. So he played with two other ex-Steelers in Tennessee, didn't do much there at all, and now he's back here for his third stint with the Steelers. So he knows the system, and he's played well here in preseason, but has never made anything work in the regular season. Can he adapt and play the same way and learn the playbook at the same rate in the regular season that he does with that preseason energy? Because so far, on the other two teams, with the Giants and Tennessee, he's got a combined total of 1/2 sack. He got a half sack for the Giants, and that was about it so far for his career. But in that one preseason, he lit the world on fire. So can he do it again for Pittsburgh? My hopes are not very high after seeing his longevity so far, but we'll find out. Got one guy that really could make an impact as our number 3 is a veteran signing here, Janard Avery. He's played now, this is his 5th season in the NFL. Maybe he's going into his 6th, actually. Played 5 seasons total. He's got 7.5 sacks in 5 years. I think he played first 2 seasons in Cleveland and then his last 3 in Philadelphia, I believe. So played 5 years, got 7.5 sacks. Again, nothing outstanding. He's got decent athletic speed. He's a little bit undersized, I believe, but does have decent edge speed. And has shown some good moments here in Pittsburgh. Played pretty well against us for Cleveland. So pretty interesting to see what happens here. Again, he's played 5 years in the league, so he's a veteran, and he's done a couple of things. He's made a few plays. Again, for the amount of time that he's played, he's done nothing special. But to have a veteran guy in there who can get some sacks occasionally is the kind of thing you're going to need at the number 3 spot. So he's unproven in terms of where can his ceiling be, but in Pittsburgh, he's got a good fresh start here. And then there's Derek Tusca, a guy that I've been pretty hard on in the past. He's kind of the guy that I look at and I go, who the hell is Derek Tusca? Why is he in the game? I lamented him when he came in and played last season ahead of a bunch of guys that I wish we had kept. We had drafted the guy from Miami in the 6th round last year, who I thought could be a star. He went on to be, I think, a starter for the Giants and get a couple of sacks last year, so I liked him better. I also obviously liked the Cam Phenom Jones we had. Was it Jarvis? I don't want to say Jarvis Jones. That's not the right guy. But we had a Cam Phenom last year that played well in preseason who wasn't signed as well, plus the veteran who went off to Kansas City. So we had 3 guys that I liked better than Tusca and knew better than Tusca, who did not wind up playing for us last year, and then Tusca comes in throughout the injuries. So I look at Tusca as like we had all these guys who could have been effective for us at the outside linebacker spot once TJ and Highsmith went down, and now we're playing with freaking Tusca. I want to apologize to Derek Tusca because I was looking at him as a veteran journeyman who had been in the league for several years, who had done nothing and really shouldn't have been on this roster. I just come to find out in my research for this video that Tusca's only played 2 years. He was really good at NDSU, had a really nice tape. Smaller guy, but a lot of speed, really ferocious hitter, got a few nice tackles in the backfield, a few batted balls, caused a few turnovers on the outside, really was a nice little force. Looked like a few guys that we've seen come out of kind of like 5th, 6th round kind of picks. He went to Denver in the 2020 draft and then came over to Pittsburgh about 5 weeks into the season last year. So came in last year kind of first quarter of the way through the season and got 2 sacks. Played okay. Didn't play nearly as badly as I thought, especially for being a guy who hasn't played much in the NFL. So still young, good college tape, and was effective last year in small doses. Not a guy you want to be out there starting. He is undersized. But did get some pressures in a couple games that he played last year. Did look fairly effective. So I want to be a little nicer to Derek Tusca here. Again, he's not somebody I want taking TJ Watt's place, but he could be a nice piece. So now you have 5 guys who got potential to make this roster. Like I said before, we usually keep 9 to 10 linebackers on the main roster come week 1 of the regular season. So it's either usually 5 outside linebackers and 4 inside, or 5 inside and 4 outside. So 4 of these guys you think will definitely make the roster. Obviously, Watt and Highsmith are your starters. Janard Avery was a free agent signing who's been in the league for a while, so I think he's the number 3. And Derek Tusca, I'd say Tusca and Avery are fighting for the third spot, but Tusca obviously now has been a Steeler for a season. Interesting to see where his ceiling is coming in his first full year for the Steelers and only his third season after getting 2 sacks last year. So Tusca and Avery kind of fighting for that 3/4 spot, and I think those 4 guys make the roster, barring some big surprise camp phenom this year. So those are your 4, and then Tuzar Skipper is the guy on the bubble because again he had a really good preseason for us, but he's played now in the league in 2019 and 2020, didn't do much of anything aside from a half sack for the Giants, and then didn't play at all last year. So he's been around now for a while, not done much in regular season time, and is coming off of a year off in 2021. So Skipper's the guy on the bubble. If we keep 5, it'll likely be him, but he has a good chance of not making this roster. I see us kind of keeping 5 outside or inside linebackers with Miles Jack, Devin Bush, Robert Spillane, Buddy Johnson, and Marcus Allen. So I see us keeping 5 inside and maybe even a 6 with UG3. And if they do keep 6 inside, they're only keeping 4 outside, which means Watt, Highsmith, Avery, and Tusca. So depending what they keep inside, you guys can go check out my inside linebacker video. It's the last video on my channel. Keep checking that out and leaving comments, please. But as far as inside, I think Watt, Highsmith, Avery, and Tusca are your 4 for sure. And then if they keep a 5th, Skipper's got a chance. But can he repeat his success in 2019's preseason? Will be interesting. And then there's a couple of guys like Moultrie. There's a couple other guys that we signed as undrafted free agents. The one guy from Texas A&M, Tyree Johnson, I believe his name is. That'll be interesting to kind of look at and see what they can bring to the table and if we get any surprises. I didn't see much of their tape that I really thought was special compared to Tusca and Avery. So we'll see. Those are my 4 right now that I think are locks for the roster and Skipper on the bubble. So we'll see what happens when preseason actually comes to play and kind of see who surprises us in the game action. But what do you guys think of the outside linebacker situation? Do you think guys like Tusca in his first full year here and guys like Avery make a big difference, or did we have a better roster last year? What do you guys think about the outside linebacker spot? How many linebackers on the outside are we keeping this preseason? Tell me in the comments below, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. Please comment and keep my channel active so I can keep doing these. And again, if you want to see other positional breakdowns like this one, please go to my other videos on this channel and request future Steeler videos. Are there any other spots you guys want to see breakdowns of? What do you guys think of this new phone? I'm still learning the settings, so I hope that I'm not all washed out right now. I look like a ghost right now. So tell me what you guys think of the settings and future Steeler videos, and I will see you soon.